What I see the most of with these Vatican controllers and military handlers are sadistic and below average intelligence people who enjoy controlling others as livestock with very little rights as society devolves. So this Planet of the Apes establishment begins grooming different personality types that fit well into the hierarchy of Vatican military control. So I'm going to briefly describe some of these personality types that are of interest to the alien agenda. They first look for those who will be good handlers, like I described above. And honestly, these sadists and control freaks are not that smart. They may be good at lying and manipulating people to benefit themselves, but if they were really intelligent, they would begin to see the big picture, where this all leads, especially in regards to the alien threat. So the next personality type that the Vatican controllers and the CIA handlers look for is the egotistical lot, who will go on to be their frontmen. These are often politicians, media personalities, entertainers, and corporate executives. These people tend to look a little cuter than the average CIA handler, so the military cult will approach them with an ego program. At first, as always, the target will be subject to these electromagnetic energy oscillators that will be placed in their house or car usually. These electromagnetic energy oscillators have different energy spectrums that produce different states, for example, sedation, anxiety, or pain. Yet for the programming of the target, the CIA will use the electromagnetic devices to induce the subject into becoming hyper-aware and therefore paying close attention to every detail. So after being hit with these energy devices, the target knows that something feels different, and they start paying closer attention to every detail. And this is what the agency desires, because instead of tuning out the background noises and ignoring the passing crowds, the target tends to begin to notice everything. And so a network of handlers will take advantage of this mindset by constantly being around the subject, giving subliminal gestures, making comments, and acting in a way that the subject will begin to realize that they are being paid close attention to by a network of followers. When undergoing this, a lot of targets state that they felt like they are in the process of being recruited or analyzed by some agency for some reason. Many people don't like it. They consider this an invasion of privacy and don't like a shadowy group of strangers following them around and acting unusual. This makes them feel paranoid or self-conscious, especially when being hit with these energy spectrums that affect brain chemistry, inducing them to be hyper-aware. Then it becomes very difficult to tune a lot of these people out or ignore the background noise, and it becomes very agitating having all these people around acting in flamboyant ways. So something like symptoms of paranoia or mental illness will develop. So many normal people end up going crazy or trying to report the situation to the medical field, which will diagnose and then drug them. These people are not what the CIA is looking for. These people are too honest and too outspoken, and they made the mistake of talking about these issues to others in an attempt to receive help. Honest and communicative people are not what the CIA desires. Lying, manipulating, self-centered assholes who know how to keep their mouths shut about the programming is exactly what the CIA is looking for. The military is also looking for a few good egotistical frontmen who can be groomed into taking subliminal direction from a network of shadowy handlers. So someone the CIA would say is responding well to the ego program will begin to enjoy all this strange attention. They will skip around pleased with everyone noticing them. All the deranged military handlers grinning at them from behind sunglasses will appear as old friends. Finally, someone who appreciates my many and wonderful qualities. What good taste the CIA has. Finally, some acknowledgement. How wonderful. I don't know who they are or what they want. All I know is that I now have a cult of fans who care about every little thing I do. How cute it all is. So meanwhile, the egotist has no idea that he is being followed around by a network of baby-killing Satanists who consider it all a game, manipulating the new asshole. In the handler's mind, He's just another puppet who has no idea who we are, but is doing exactly what we want. This piece of egotistical shit actually thinks we like him. Why do the higher-ups want this guy? I don't know. They think he looks good in a white sweater and pink tie, reading the news on NBC. What's the new asshole doing now? He's buying a tie. Well, make sure he gets a pink one. So the handlers cruise up to him in the department store. The asshole picks up a red and blue striped tie and glances at the agent standing close by. She shakes her head no. The asshole drops the tie like a hot potato. He picks up another one, green and pink. The handler gives the notion of some approval, but still not the one he should get. He picks up a pink tie with ruffles. That's the one, big guy. The handler smiles and nods her head. The asshole prances up to the cash register with his new pink tie, enthusiastic to buy what the agency has approved. On the way out, two homosexual agents pass the asshole saying, "Looks like we got our guy," further programming him that he's on to great things as long as he keeps on taking direction from this cult of absolute strangers. If the egotist tries to talk to the handlers, who subliminally command him from the background, the handlers will act like they don't know what he's talking about or will walk away, because the whole point to being programmed is to accept direction from any random agent who's around them and happens to be working at that time. And they have to do it secretly, without being noticed by others. That is part of the establishment control and the way the inner group functions. Now there's an old joke. If you are gay and are attracted to the same sex, do you check yourself out in the mirror all the time? Now there is some truth to this joke which makes it funny. The CIA egotist programming goes in the direction of homosexuality, but the first step in the process is that the egotist will first really get into themselves. So as the egotist goes through life, handlers will all walk past him, instilling the ego program by staring at the subject constantly and smiling or saying lines like, "You're him." Or for example, if the egotist is waiting at a bus stop, looking at a billboard of a model, a handler might walk past and say, "You're hotter than him." So instead of looking for a girlfriend or checking out the women all around him, the egotist will start getting into himself. After all, he has all these fans around him who also recognize his greatness. Now usually the handlers who are all pretending to admire him will also be men. So packs of homosexual agents will be used to program the egotist, and after a while they will begin to say strange things. For example, a really beautiful woman will walk past and a CIA handler will say, "You're hotter than she is." Or later, they'll say, "You are her." Now, if you are interested, I spoke in more detail about the homosexual program in a video series entitled The Program, which is on the Bulletproof Cybers 13 channel. If you want to hear more about how they program many people in the media to be gay because they don't want entertainers to find girlfriends, get married, and have children, because that screws up the TV series, or they think nobody wants to see a pregnant Lady Gaga up on stage. But there is another aspect to the egotist or homosexual program that goes in the direction of bisexuality. And that is, the programmers want some of the men to get married and have children. But they are programmed along the ego lines to not really care about their wives and children. So they get these younger, good-looking guys with cute wives to produce beautiful children that the cult essentially owns because they own the father. The father has been programmed along the lines that he is so into himself on the ego program that he barely pays attention to his wife and kids, especially about anything important. So it's really easy for the cult to program or molest his wife and kids, and if they begin to show signs or adverse reactions, the dad, one, won't look or think too much about why the kids are acting strange, and he probably won't even realize anything is wrong, and two, he won't do anything unless he is forced into doing something, and three, if the kid develops a problem that poses a threat, the dad will just send him or her to a mental hospital that drugs the kids and also ignores the source of the problem. So the program can do whatever they want to the wife and kids, and the father doesn't really care because he is too busy with work or watching TV, or just doesn't want to be bothered with the problems of little kids because they are just not as important as he is. Because after all, the whole CIA admires him and calls him the man. They give him a good job as a corporate executive where he could wear his little gold cufflinks and white sweaters and pink ties to, then prance around the gym after work where a bunch of fags could check him out. So ultimately, a lot of the women and children can be placed under mind control with this type of piece of shit acting as the head of family. And then the ape men could rape the cute little wife and kids in rituals. And this is all part of the alien agenda. This is what the Vatican and the CIA take part in when you hear all the time that the Vatican and the CIA are guilty of pedophilia crimes or running military nursery school sex abuse rings. It all goes back to the alien manipulation of the people of our world. So as all of society is programmed like this, to be like sadistic controllers or ape-man handlers or egotistical frontmen, slowly the ritual abuse that was once a big secret becomes your everyday life. Pedophilia becomes accepted and practiced openly. Cannibalism is promoted by corporations allowing a certain percentage of human meat to be allowed in ground beef sold in the CIA-controlled supermarkets. Genetic experiments on the human populace is practiced when everyone is the property of the state with no human rights. This is what the Vatican and the militaries of the world have planned for you. And the egotistical frontmen you'll see acting as your president or as heads of major corporations or reporting the news to you will never tell you. And before you know it, you will all be greys, a civilization of greys.